And we're going to start off with the Georgia and Vanderbilt here in this one. All right, pass. Let's get the yesterday's. I just want to see if I wanted to touch on anything. Oh, how about in the CFL? We did give out some winners there yesterday, right? With Calgary. Yeah, we gave out. We were 2-1 on the show in the CFL. Pardon me, you guys. I've only been up all night. Um, we went 2-1. There is 2 games today in the CFL. I believe we do have one game. Because of the situation in the standings, the game isn't even on the board, so probably not going to touch on that. But maybe out of the 2 games, we can touch on it. But gave out CFL winners yesterday, Hamilton, and we gave out Calgary as well. Oh, and NBA NBA preseason. We gave out a couple of winners on the show. How about that? We had the over. Miami and San Antonio. We had the over. Golden State and Lakers. I guess we had some winners yesterday. so uh, today in the NBA, let me see if I did look at them, and since everything's going pretty smoothly here, but I'm just not sure we'll see. It's getting a little thin there. All right, we're on Georgia and Vanderbilt. Hello to Darren. Oh, boy, you guys. All right, in this one, you got Georgia in the road here. Big 33-55. Looks like the ticker's broken down here with this one. We know Georgia's going to be Vanderbilt's worst team in the country. And actually, I mean, because for your buck, right? If you talk about the spread, not only are they can't win a game against the spread, they quite frankly can't uh, you know even stay close right now on some of these. And with Georgia being a 33-point favorite, I mean that you look at it, it's supposed to be in this game like 43-7 or something like that, 43-10. That's what it would be, 43-10, 44-10. I don't know how you want to handicap the game. You can't break it. We can try to break down every Vanderbilt defensive back against the Georgia team, but the way to handicap this game is trying to balance out where you think it's really going to land. Right? These are the old uh, uh, needle threaders here, right? That I like to talk about because you got to get it just right. So usually in games like these, I'm not going to usually hit it too. You can show off and say, look, I can get the side or the total, but usually it's going to be one way or the other. Dwight needs Vandy tonight to complete a 4-teamer with 3 games from last night. Now, we can take a survey here. Should Dwight ride with this total crapshoot of a game on that 4-teamer? Or should he try to hedge this thing, right? He must really love Vandy here to complete this 4-teamer. Man, Vandy is, like I said, I'm not trying to get Dwight off his game or whatever if he wants to ride with the Commodore. He knows what he got into here. And I mean, the way you look at this game with Vandy is, that this is an overlooking spot maybe here for Georgia because Georgia can name a score here. Vandy, for whatever's going on with Vandy this season, and they're the worst spread team in the country. What I meant to say was not only are they not covering, but I believe they are the worst margin margin of spread losing. I can't even talk right. Largest margin of defeats against the spread cumulatively. I'm not making it up. I'm just trying to clarify exactly what I'm saying, man. They don't cover, and they don't cover by a lot. Dre seems to like the over in this game, so let's just hit it right there and say that's where I'm going with this one. I would think this one goes over here. Do I think Georgia? Look, I'm giving Vandy a shot that maybe Georgia can overlook, but it's almost like with some of these teams right now, when you're playing Vandy, it's just like name the score And even if they're not trying, they're getting numbers here on these guys right now because Vandy is unprecedentedly bad at this point. It's just tough to even fathom it. Yeah, they're always bad. I mean, they're at the bottom of the SEC. If anything, they should kick these. I don't want to say that like that, but nonetheless, here I'm actually going to give Dwight a chance here. Dre says cash out. Yes, I'm actually giving Vandy a chance. I can't recommend him on the show here. I can't do it privately. Could I get there? Could I even get it up? 35 might be paying a little bit too much, but I think it's going to be right there. And 33 is such an ugly number in a game like this where Georgia, how many field goals will they actually end up kicking, if any, right? Because their scores should come in the numbers 7. So, right? Georgia will go 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. All right. They're not going to be, you could stall, I guess, a couple of times here and there, but a lot of times that's what I mean in those blowout games. It kind of lands on exactly. That's why when you look at a game like this and you're like 55, 33, you know, so when you say off the top 43-10, well, that sounds fine. But why is Georgia going to end up on 43? Are they going to really, you know, end up like a 2 point? So it'd have to be like 34 ish, right? And I'm not trying to pinpoint it. It never lands exactly, but you just got to be logical on some of the stuff, right? You'd think Georgia would more likely win by 28 or 35 by 30 than 31. So Dre says FanDuel has it at 32 and a half. And that's when you start, considering. Well, this one was as low as 29. I think it generally opened 32 and it stayed 32 for the most part. But there was a look ahead that was as low as 29 a couple of weeks back. And that's, as we've seen, Vanderbilt just really bad right now. So, yeah, guess not. Matt, hello, Matt. He's talking about that Stanford game, and I think there was a little bit of teasing there from people saying like, "Oh, are these conferences going to regret, getting these Pac-12?" They don't play any defense either, and uh, you know, I wouldn't be too worried about those other conferences getting these teams in there, but yeah, I mean the Pac-12. It's been a good year, and they're going to still excel. This is still going to be a great year for the Pac-12. But all right, let's continue on here. My play is on the over in this one. I think we could get over 55. Georgia and Vanderbilt. All right, California and Utah. Hey, it's looking more and more like Cam Rising's never going to take the field here. Uh, do want to mention as we also before we get to there's a game I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but just want to get it clear here that Duke quarterback Riley Leonard, his status is going to be doubtful with that ankle injury tonight. Of course, he averages 180 yards per game. He's 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. We know they've had some uh, uh, workers down there, but Riley Leonard, he's going to be downgraded to doubtful here in this one. We're seeing a little bit of move. I'll talk about the Duke NC State game in just a little bit, but that information has been coming across here. All right, let's take a look here with Cal going up here against Utah in this one, and for Utah, an 11-point favorite here. They opened 13.5. Cal has been taking most of the action here. And a little steam coming in a hockey game right now. It's a crazy one, but the Sharps apparently are steaming this one. Joe Schmo's not walking up to the window at 9:30 in the morning Eastern time and plunking down a bunch of money on the Colorado Avalanche today to beat the Sharks. They're already laying 275 coming in. What are they going to be now after these guys get done pouring a bunch of money in on the Avalanche? $3. So some steam just came in here on the Avalanche, going up to as high as 290 or higher. Anyways, in this one between Cal and Utah. Like I said, rising, but Utah's been fine at the, they got a great situation up there. I mean, just because you have a prospect in rising, and, sounds like he actually could be just getting bad advice because he's a quarterback that still could use some work. Yeah, there's a talent there. Yeah, could he be a pro quarterback? Maybe, but uh, you haven't proven as much as maybe you think you have. And well, I don't want to downplay his injury status. Never want to criticize anyone who could be having certain injuries, and you just don't know. But here, uh, sounds like he's just getting someone telling him, "Hey, just you're fine. Just don't go back and get ready for the draft." So Cal has not been good on the road here of late. Dating back to last season, they've lost 7 of their last 8 on the road. They've also lost 5 of their last 7 games. Utah's been on fire at home, no doubt, winning 18 of their last 19 and covering 11 of their last 15 games. But however the case may be here, the action has definitely been on the Bears. Maybe, I don't know if it's a reaction to the rising news, because I think we knew that he was not going to be playing in this game. So I maybe that total as well. I mean, it's dipped here now to, I'm going to mark this down, 43.5. And for me, that's getting a little bit too low, I would think, here. And I'm going to end up going with the over as my play right here on the show. It actually, the reason, so this is why I'm just the games I've selected to go over here. Um, as I rehash the card a little bit, and I skipped a few games. So this one just missed the card, and it almost was is worthy of reconsideration here at 43.5. I do like the over. Cal's gone over in 8 of their last 11 games, including 4 of their last 5 on the road. Now, Utah has gone under in 5 straight games, and of course, we know they have terrific defense at home. Really, really strong defense. But I'm going to be on the over in this one with Cal and Utah here. I'm not necessarily sold on Utah to cover this number necessarily, but one way or the other, I have not released anything yet. So give me the over in this one. And want to say solo hello. Dre's got to play in this one, and so does White. They're going to lay it with Utah here. Darren's asking about Madison. And I will tell you this: um, Tony on Tony's video, uh, he gave out the over. So just to let you know on that one, Darren, he did give out the over, and I probably am going to agree with him there. So if you're wondering about that, I didn't make a play on it just yet. I didn't give anything out, and it might be just in pocket for me because there are some very sharp guys on the under, some national handicappers that have a pretty big reputation and following. But I'm thinking I'm going to be on the over. Hey, listen, it just came across. Look, I'm not some breaking news guy here, and uh, you know, we knew he wasn't going to play, but officially, it looks like it's come across that Rising is downgraded to doubtful in the game. And just coming, that was the last critical notice that just came through. You might have heard it there in the background, and it's the news about Cam Rising. So he will still not make his debut. And right now, I'm going to say he does not play this season. And he'll probably play next week. All right. All right. And thank you to Darren. He had bet it under 60. And what is it now, Darren? Is it 57-ish? Oh, let me see. I might have an old number there, actually, since I didn't play it. 59 and a half. Okay, so you're right in there right now with that number. Okay. An ugly one here, but I do have a selection here, and it was almost a premium, but I uh, rarely release something in this neighborhood unless it's super lucky. Because here's the thing about something, you try to make an entertaining card. I mean, it is part of the process. You're never going to pass on something that you have rated very strongly. And look, I'm always going to stick with my numbers, and then you rely upon sometimes that, artistic touch a little bit, right? If we played our numbers all the time, we're always going to end up on the same team, and that's not going to pay off in the end, is it? Uh, I guess if you're right all the way on the best teams, that is going to pay off, but not everybody covers every game. Anyways, Massachusetts here going up against Penn State. And so we told the story earlier, right? Who was it we were joking around, Darren and I, or we were talking about it on the show earlier this week, so I want to come back and maybe at least review this game and preview it. You see the spread there at 40 and a half for Penn State. It's actually maybe even down to 40 and a half, but the fun they've had a little bit this week talking about James Franklin at Penn State, but certainly something that you got to take note of a little bit. It just seems like Franklin knows this. I mean, they all should know the spread, kind of, right? Anybody who goes out there and we don't know if we're going to win or lose, well, then you're not doing a good job of coaching, because you probably could know the spread, I would think, without even checking. And I don't know, they look at newspapers anymore, checking the internet or whatnot. So Franklin is showing a penchant for being able to know how to cover the spread, as if he's kind of saying uh, to that fan base, hey, let's go out, let's cover spreads. I want you to bet on our team, and I want boosters to bet on our team, and I want all of our fans, and we're going to celebrate. Penn State's covered 5 straight games right now, and UMass has done a good job. And we know they're always getting a bushel full of points. They've covered 4 of their last 5 on the road. Remember, they don't win it all on the road. They've won one game in like 4 years on the road. Of course, they're a 41-point underdog here. That's not the point. The point is 40 and a half points. So, again, in a game like this where the scores are going to come in bunches for Penn State and they're going to come in the form of sevens, 7 times 6 is 42, and this point spread is 41. So, I might lean to one side or the other in this one with Massachusetts and Penn State. You bet. Give me Penn State here. If it's under 42, right? If it was a different opponent, it was like 36 and a half. Well, maybe you take 36 and a half. Or if this was even 43, it might be worth a shot on UMass, because there's a high likelihood here of Penn State winning this game. 42 to nothing, 49 to nothing, 56 to nothing, 49 to 7. 49 to 7 is what it says right there on the screen, pretty much, right? I mean, you're trying to just pick logical numbers here. Yeah, Penn State mixed up in some field goals. I don't want to beat this into the ground, but that's how it works in these type of games. So 49 to 7 is 42 points. Give me Penn State. I'm showing some books even here at 40 and a half. So I'm on Penn State. It's a play here on the show. And we're all going to send our money to James Franklin and be all Penn State. When I was Penn State doesn't qualify, I don't think, as one of my teams anymore. But when I was young, I loved Penn State. I don't know. Nowadays, you attract the kids' attention like Oregon, right, with the multicolors, the multi uniforms, and I actually was old school enough in my youth to say I love the Penn State uniforms. Of course you do. So let's take them here, not because of their uniforms, but because they're favored by less than 42 points in this one. And it did open when we were on the air with that opening line show. The opening number was 39, make no mistake. And it has reached as high as 43. There has been buyback 43, 42, 41, 40 and a half. Darren took the 43. That was him. And if I was going to take Massachusetts, I would do it at plus 43 or 42 and a half. You know what I mean? It's over that 42 number. So not every time, you guys, not every game, but in just a funny story, I think there. And well, maybe there is something to it. Well, I had to save this one, you guys, for the show today because uh, maybe I'm not even. The bummer is I'm not going to get to premium land in one of the biggest games of the season. It's a little bit disappointing, but one thing I'm true to myself, and we might have you know a couple of MAC games in here on my card today, and we don't have the biggest game of the, but we're going to talk about it certainly here with Oregon. And in fact, here's the problem, right? With why I didn't get to a premium. Like I said, I say in my little, there's a little, you can go on the profile, and I have a little thing that I write, about my handicapping philosophy. It's all a bunch of, you know, wordsmithing stuff because, I'm a writer. And um, explaining, methodology and handicapping and like that. And here's the problem, right? I want to play this as a premium, and I even say in that profile, I would try to cultivate an entertaining card with information, and because we want to be involved in the biggest games if we can, right? Super Bowl comes, it maybe here's the Super Bowl is really like the closest game, right? You're just going with your gut instinct because it's tightly rated, and of course, games like this can be tightly rated as well. But uh, when you can't get there, when I couldn't get there on a premium, I've actually thrown out the numbers because I don't like what the numbers came back. My numbers came back here on this game, telling me it's a hardcore, really pretty staunch on the under in this game, and I just don't like it. I like it over. I like the game over. I'm throwing out my computer rating in this game, and I usually rarely do that in a premium. Right? I'm gonna everything like premium. You want the numbers, the eye test, trends, all everything kind of clicking in. Where you're like, yes, this is all. And because I've ended up on the wrong side of the number here, with the total, which has gone as high as 72 and a half. There's been big buyback here to the under in this one. Now, I do think I prefer Washington in the game, but just it's going to be just too entertaining, hella entertaining, I would think, in this one. And maybe that with the over, I'm getting the best of the number too at 66 because of that. It opened as low as 64 and a half and immediately was still. Remember, we were on the air and this thing was flying higher. But since then, things have come back down to earth a little bit here, and we've seen some buyback in this one. Washington is a pretty popular side with uh, public handicappers. Now, it's not overwhelming, but it certainly, to me, looks like well more than 65, maybe 65% of the survey that I looked at with paid public cappers. I checked them out over on a forum where people share picks and stuff like that. So uh, I want to look. One thing I want to cover in this game, certainly, I mean, is the the quarterbacking battle, and yes, maybe these teams are good enough that there will be enough defense, and maybe that's what my numbers are trying to tell me, and I'm sure it is, and I'm sure that's why we've seen so. Because isn't the instinct of even maybe I'm just super square in this game? I mean, it just feels like this is going to be like the game of the year. Right? Like, isn't this the 35-38 game or something like that we are that I'm expecting? So, all right, let me see if I do have a little few notes on this game, but I mean, it's more about the uh, explanation for me why I can't get involved in this terrific ball game. At least, uh, you know, on my paid pick service here, and I want to be in it. Like I said, this is the game of the day, right? This is the one we're watching. Um, there's some good games today. This is a good card. Not the best, because we're just coming off a couple of highs as far as these cards are concerned. Oregon, they've won 7 of their last 8 on the road. That's big time as well. And this has been an Oregon dominated series throughout the years. Matt D's on Oregon, Darren's on Oregon. Thank you, MT. It's nice to see you. Darren also, he's going to go against me here, but like I said, I don't know if it's going against me or yeah, he's going with my whatever I've used to calculate these numbers. It's really a cumulative process of the different sets of power readings that I use. Um, but it's put me on a side that I didn't like. I like the over in this one. Maybe the fact that these teams have been playing some unders. There's no doubt about it. Oregon's gone under in 5 of their last 6 games, and Washington's gone under in 4 of their last 6. But I just can't get over the fact that I feel like it's exciting, uh, high flying matchup. It's just what it feels like heading in a huge game too. Don't forget, I mean, this thing's going to be, uh, you know, awesome and all it's cracked up to be. That's what it feels like. All that. So maybe I'm just like I said. Maybe I'm just getting all square here. I'm just going to take the over. But look, you got you know number one, number two to me, right? In offense, you got Penix and Nix. Penix thrown for 2 dimes so far. Nix is at nearly 1,500. Penix, 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Nix, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception. They're third and fifth, respectively, in pass efficiency. Is this the type of stuff you want to hear, or you want to? You guys know what it is. So, look, just respecting what Darren's saying, and he says under 70. Like I said, this thing's definitely gone down from whenever the case may be. Could that possibly be the sharp money in a situation, like this? So now, these guys have good defenses too. Make no mistake. But the Ducks, and I think maybe because of like what you guys are talking about in the chat, to me, there's a little bit of schedule strength involved in the defensive ratings at this point because I'm just kind of going off yardage and stuff to a certain extent with some of that. But the Ducks have a, certainly a top 10 defense, if not close to top 5, while Washington, they're not probably top 50, maybe, right? But they're at home. In fact, the line doesn't really reflect to me, and that's maybe why my lean is like I'm believing in this spread a little bit that maybe this is the spot for Washington. And I tried to find my way there. I just haven't been able to yet. And maybe I'm going to be involved in this game. Probably just end up have to be in pocket. All right, so let's take a look now at that North Carolina State and Duke game, as I mentioned, because um, what the quarterback situation will be like in this game. Anyways, I don't know if let's see if it's affected the spread here. Actually, I think this is news that was expected, but it still could have a little bit of effect. No, looks like 3-43. So okay, well the total did drop here by about a point for sure, almost across the board. There is some 43.5 as well. But Duke here favored in this one. This one's at 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific time. Get your questions ready too. We're going to go over about 3 or 4 more games and then maybe just a few minutes to spend with you if you have any other requests here. You can take a peek at my massive sheet of action. We got it all here. Uh, you take a screenshot, freeze it up. You could get all my premiums right there with the all that. So sure, I'm a little bit old school. Yeah, maybe I got 5 computers. Well, 4 right now. One one is down. Hey, this is one thing I want to cover for you right now. This is what we're going to do here in the next several minutes. So now the FCS lines are coming out. These are not picks at all. But if you're interested in any FCS action, or even if you're not, the lines that I'm going to give out right now, when I give out these moves here on these games, on this Steam that's about to come out in the FCS, you can get on these moves pretty quickly. Now, I'm on a real time, but by the time it hits here and I tell you we might miss it, but some of these moves you can beat by a few points. Let me tell you one right now. Hopefully you can catch it. Don't necessarily just blindly bet it. Maybe if you've looked at FCS, maybe you have some biases, or you could put a small bet in and you still may be able to catch some value with it. Central Connecticut, Duquesne, under 62.5 is being hit right now. In FCS action. All these early lines, just the first few are starting to come out. The earliest games. These are just the early games right now. That total opened 63.5. It's now down to 59.5, and it is on the move. So take a look, see if you're interested, or if you get that good number. Like I said, it's down to 59.5. If you click on your book and that thing says 62 right now, you hit it under, because that thing is moving and they will move it as well. You can't sit there with a bad number. So we're going to keep it on. We're going to keep the Steam machine on here and get ready for a few FCS Steam moves in there. Look, I have FCS plays. If you follow my Discord, I usually come in there with a half a dozen plays on Saturday in FCS action. And we're above 500. I was actually expecting better results, but we've given out a few plays here and there as well at other places. So check out my FCS card. But just giving out this. This is just Steam. Those aren't plays. That's just the line service alerting us. So NC State and Duke here, 129 and 130 in this one. So we've seen that news. Duke opened 2. They were bet up to 3.5, then to 4, and now it is back down to 3. Now this total has been pounded all week long, and I'm not sure if I was too into the move necessarily. It opened 50.5 when we were on the air back on Sunday with that opening line show, and it immediately started to get hit to the low. It was 50, let's see, it was 50.5, and it was then bet down to 48.5. And now has gone all the way to 43. Now, uh, you know, I I get it, I guess, but at this total, I think it's totally gotten away from them here, and I'm ready to go back to the over now. No, I'm listing 43, but I see moves out there, and look, I know sharp guys are all over this total under. It's been really one of the most popular plays for handicappers all week. So uh, I I was liking the over, and I've kind of been scared off by some of the talk by some analysts a little bit about the nature of this game. But uh, I don't know. To me, it looks like those guys are not the sharp ones that are sticking with the over, because every time, even though what I've seen from the line moves this week is every time the thing was bet down by like a point, it would get bet back up by like a half a point. And to me, that reflects the true sharp money in the game. Now, again, all the talk sharp money, this, sharp money, that, handle this, handle that, uh, betting percentage here and there, it's all speculative. And I'm here to speculate on it. That is my job. So for me, the move is too far. I'm going over. I'm not. Dwight's got NC State here in this one. Uh, I will say the cappers that I've been following, they seem to be mostly on Duke in this one, probably by about a 2-1 margin, maybe here. So Duke is coming in off of a bye, no doubt about that. They played Notre Dame and lost on that 30-yard run with 30 seconds to go, and they did a nice job. They rushed for 190 yards against Notre Dame in that game, and we know that Duke has done very well defensively. Probably also part of the situation here with this move lower. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the country in scoring defense. North Carolina State, call them lucky or call them good, but they've been covering number. They've covered the last two by half a point. So, Georgetown is getting steamed right now, you guys, at -1.5. Georgetown in their game today. Let's see, number 909, Georgetown against Lehigh, getting steamed. Georgetown open 1. They're now -3. If you get anything under 3, you're probably beating the line. Georgetown taking steam right now. Okay, continue on. NC State and Duke, Georgetown. Are we in basketball season already? Here we go, though. Continuing on with this game. Well, I think I'm done. I want the over. Lines move too far. Everybody's on the under in this game as far as public handicap. It's been beat down all the way, and maybe it is going to be a defensive tilt, but for me, just having gone down now a full touchdown off that opener and seeing so much buyback, like I said, not enough to make the line move back, but the type of buyback that I'm seeing here with NC State on the total is the type of buyback that's been winning all season. So just can't do it as a premium, because unlike everybody else, I understand what's going on. Duke has done an outstanding job. So I understand why we might be seeing that type of action here, but all right. NC State, the other problem, they can't run the ball very well, but they do stop the run, which, like I said, Duke got 190 yards against Notre Dame, but NC State does have pretty good rushing defense. And that NC State game against Marshall, though, was fun, wasn't it? I mean, that thing was back and forth and back and forth. So maybe this one will be too, but it can only go back and forth so many times. If we're down to 43, give me the over as my pick here on the show. On the side, I just I almost no. I'm flat on the side. I can't even go on the show here. All right. Here we go with UCLA and Oregon State. Another decent game here, certainly, with the way these two play, especially the Beavers. Been fun. It's still fun. All right. This one opened around 4.5, and it did touch 5, but Right now, move's been on UCLA certainly as we're down to 3.5 here, and the total's even dipped again today at 53.5 as this one continues, right now to get hit lower a little bit here in this one. It's you think of Oregon State with Taulia Tagovailoa and his great season so far. UCLA, is their defense mediocre on the road, subpar on the just above average, on the road. Now, I've seen a lot of cappers in this uh, game on the total under. We've seen that it opened 55.5, now down, like I said, to 54, 53.5 now. I'm seeing even in this one in some spots. So enough action here, I would say, to the under. Let me see. Let me just peek at something here. All right. Gonna need gonna need that computer to get here pretty soon, so I can get back to my 5 computer life and not have to go back and forth between. Or I guess I could become a little bit more adept with multiple browsers. Thank you guys for being patient with me here on this. Okay, so UCLA, been decent, certainly on the road, having won 9 of their last 12 games, and Oregon State right now they're on the run of a lifetime. Had me researching Oregon State information the other night as I watched one of my personal, but I was watching one of my high school teams that I like to follow that were having a season like they haven't had in 20 years. So I was kind of researching some of the history of that program, and uh, they introduced some. This program's really been hot and on the rise, and they were introducing some players from the past, and they have to go way back because they haven't been great. And they introduced a man who uh, went to Oregon State and was on the member of that, maybe almost the last when Oregon State had a incredible 1967, and they were called the Giant Killers. They were the first team. I don't know if it's ever happened since, but they beat two number one teams and tied the number two team in a 4 week span, something that had never been done. And they were dubbed the Giant. They didn't even win the conference title. I think the Bruins might have actually won it. That maybe it was SC, but because the big result was Oregon State beat USC, that one of the OJ Simpson teams that were so good in 1967. So that's I know Oregon State's had a little bit of success since, and some great players too, but just had me kind of down a rabbit hole the other night. A little bit of steam just came in. We talked about that Georgetown game at -1.5. The total under right now is being hit as well at 42.5. Right now, it opened 44.5. It's down some places to 40. So you see how fast these are moving. Georgetown and Lehigh under, and there's more lines coming out right now. So stand by. We're going to get you more FCS steam moves here as they go along, because now we're getting not only those noontime starts, but the 1 p.m. starts are going off as well. And my team plays. I'm a U.S. University of San Diego fan, and I might watch, but we're 1-4, and has not been a season at all. So Steam Play coming in right now. Be ready, you guys. Let's have those screens open. These aren't picks, so I'm just telling you where the line's moving. Princeton and Brown over. Princeton and Brown is getting hit over right now. It opened 42. It's now 44. That game is just opening and on the move. Princeton and Brown going over. It's getting steamed right now. All right. So I think we're ready to roll, though, of UCLA and Oregon State here. Yeah, I'm on the under in this one. Um, do I have concerns with sometimes UC? I do, but I think that maybe because Oregon State, as good as they've been, um, this is still pretty tough game. UCLA is actually covered in 10 of the last 13 meetings. Now we know this is completely different. I get that, but uh, UCLA has gone under in 4 of their last 5 games, and moves obviously here. On the Bruins, and there's sharp guys certainly on Oregon State here. Oregon State's covered 10 of their last 11 at home and 11 of their last 13 overall. On the under here as my free play in this one. Boise State is going to be at Colorado State here. And this one, we've seen some move here to the over. Now, the look ahead line couple of weeks back here was the total was 49 and a half. We've seen certainly improvement from these clubs, so I'm just going to toss that out. I shouldn't even mention it. It opened 58 and a half for the most part here when we were on the opening line show on Sunday, and it's now up to it did touch 62 and a half, and there was some buyback here. But the move has definitely been to the over in this one. Let's see here. 50. Have it here. 58 and a half, now 62 and a half. Man, this thing seems like a sure. Oh, I do like that move, as a matter of fact, and that might be the way that I would actually look in this game. That's going to be the play, is going to be on the over with Boise State and Colorado State here. Let's see if I. Oh. Thank you guys for bearing with me just a little bit. Okay. All right. This game opened 8 when we were on the air. It did touch all the way up to 10.5. Has also been all the way down to 7. Hey, let me pass along a little more. Oh, this is some steam on a big board game here right now coming in. This is game number 1, top of the board. 125, 126. A little bit of steam coming in here on Kent State. That's been a pretty big mover this week, actually. Eastern Michigan was as high as 12, and right now I'm starting to see some 8s here on Eastern Michigan. So big moves here on Kent State this week. Not sure what's going on. I might know what's going on there, but I'm not sure of the move by the Sharps there in this one. Good luck to them. Good luck to them on that game, Kent State and Eastern Michigan. They're taking Kent State. Good on you. Crazy Sharps. Okay, anyways. Boise State and Colorado State, anyways, the play for me is going to be on the over here in this one. Maybe I was a little bit, I mentioned I shouldn't have mentioned that look ahead move, and that's not necessarily what's keeping me off the over here. I didn't respect that number, whatever it was. But there had, like I said, a little bit of a move here. Boy, I do like the over. And just want to see if I could track this on the air here and maybe give a little bit of insight as to how as to what I thought of the line of the most recent line move in this game because, like I said, it doesn't necessarily ring true when you talk about Boise State here now up to 8.5. I mean, I would have to lean towards Boise. I'm right on with the number here though, and 8.5. That's kind of a dead number to a certain extent. Maybe the I don't even know if I can even say the word value in a game like this. So, all right. I guess I'm just going to leave it at that and be on the over in this one. Uh, I want to see if maybe I could do a double play or something like that here with this game because I don't think I'm going to get on a premium, and I do like this game, even though these uh, teams are mediocre. Let me get the over here with Boise and Colorado State. We've seen Colorado State come back to come back down here a little bit. I mean, they've still lost 18 of their last 22 games. Boise's won 4 of their last 6 on the road, but they don't cover numbers that well. They've covered just 2 of their last 8 games overall, while CSU has covered 6 of their last 8, dating back to late last season. But one thing for sure, Boise's gone over in 6 of their last 7. CSU, here comes some steam. Let's check it out. CSU's gone over in 4 straight, so that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to go over for sure. And I'll talk about my team, San Diego State tonight against Hawaii. Yeah, maybe this is they finally reached a level where they could find somebody to beat. They haven't looked good. I'm talking about my Aztecs here, but what can they really get done here against Hawaii? I mean, it doesn't feel like they can go. The thought process is here that San Diego State has reached a point where finally they have somebody maybe that they can beat, but uh, whether or not they can go to Hawaii and win here, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Hawaii's going to chuck it all over the yard. San Diego State still has a little bit of defense. This total opened 57.5 when I was on the air on Sunday on that opening line show, and it's all the way down here to 52.5, and I'm all about it. I mean, I can't give this out as a premium anymore, but I like the under. I like the under for sure in this game. I'm not even sure about the side, and maybe I'm just so disappointed. And I think I saw it coming. I feel like I saw it coming. I don't think Hoke is a long-term answer at San Diego State. I think for bringing him back might have been a good solution here necessarily, but I think there's a little bit of I don't know. I'm not going to say chaos because I do respect the coaching very much at San Diego State, but there's just something here still amiss with their whole situation. And I don't trust them to go on the road here and maybe cover a number necessarily at Hawaii. I'm probably not going to give it out on any server. I'll just spite myself and end up betting on Hawaii and say, "Show me San Diego State. Show me you can go out there and win a game by a touchdown, or I'll just take my money." So I don't want to bet San Diego State here. I'll tell you that. I'm not going to recommend going against them necessarily because I think that there's some real vulnerabilities still in Hawaii. As much as I love Jimmy Chang and I love Hawaii passing it all over the place and trying that anyway. Like I said, I'm going under, especially against the San Diego. I think Hawaii kind of plays into San Diego State's hands here a little bit. I think that's why that opening total got hit so hard. I'm pretty sure it was already getting hit when we were on. I'd have to go back and look now. I forget, but I believe that move was coming out like that when we were on the air. So, and this is the late night all get out special. You're watching this one on the East Coast at 11 p.m. I'm taking the under on this one.